jump into the first of these straight away, there really is this intentional leadership, leading but being aware of how I'm leading. We all have our own natural styles as leaders, which often makes us the great leaders that we are. But for some of us, we may be very pedal to the metal, head down, drive through, get the stuff done. For some, we might be very tuned into how our teams are or not. This is more a question of how do I adapt in the moment to at least be more aware of what's going on around me. And the headline I'd put here is really focus around this idea of putting in the necessary time and attention, not just on the what we've got to do, the checklist, but the who, the why, and the how. Elizabeth, this is something you're very passionate about. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, because like I said earlier, we tend to take for granted kind of the core functioning of teams. And as leaders, you know how to set up a team and get people connected and have a purpose and ways of working. But now all of that is in flux, in question, may need to change. And so as leaders, one of the ways you can most support your team in staying productive and connected and sane is shifting attention, rebalancing to elevate attention to how people are doing and how you can help them. What is our purpose now? Why are we here? What is the intent? And how are we working together? And a light touch on those becomes a multiplier effect on the what, as hard as it is to do.
That's a good point. And I think one of the things when we were preparing this is we didn't want to do these enormous long checklists of what you should do, very much for this reason. We find that often questions and guiding principles, or even some sharing some best practices, seems to be a more effective way to go. So in this case, the questions that would be very helpful for you to sort of stay focused around this are, is my communication and behavior really fostering that open, responsive environment? Am I allowing that, or am I tending to shut it down? Am I investing sufficient energy to ensure the team is building those trustful and resilient relationships? If there's nothing else underlying the core right now, what we're needing everywhere is trust. And if it's not there, what can I do to help rebuild it? If it is there, how do I do to strengthen it? Do I have the appropriate cadence of connection with team members to provide empathy and support, both collectively and individually? Remembering the people that I'm dealing with as a leader are themselves extremely different. Some just want an odd text every now and then just to let them know how thinking of you, how are you doing? Others really need to hear themselves talk through some stuff. That's the flexibility and the agility of the leader to be able to do that. And here are some of the best practices that I think, Patrick, why don't you kind of kick off on some of these?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're seeing a lot is people taking time when they meet as a team to do a check-in with each other. So around the table, not to check up on who's done what, because in remote meetings, it's extra easy to get straight to task, but to check in with each other at more of a personal and emotional level. And whereas outside of the current environment, that could feel like a nice to do. What everybody we know and speak to who is doing that is telling us is actually this is the point at which every team member's feeling heard. They're feeling a sincere empathy. It's an important thing to do and to do well. And then with that also the cadence of individual connection. And that's really finding the right way. Some people aren't going to need a lot. Some people, as Anton just said, some people are going to need a little. Some people are going to need to fit those connections so it doesn't become an extra task, but becomes a useful thing for them that fits around their family life, looking after maybe sick family members. This is some of the people who are on today's call will be having to do. But making sure that nobody gets lost, because it'd be really easy for that to happen.
And one of the, just to go on, Elizabeth.
Sorry, I wanted to weigh in on this. It can feel like more to do as the leader, but the other side of this is then people feel confident in making decisions. They feel grounded enough to make judgment calls. So in some ways, what you're doing is activating the best of what your team has when you take the time to do this. Sorry, Anton.
No, I just wanted to build, because very often it's not so much what I as the leader think the team needs, It's actually asking the team, what would you like? I had an example, my daughter who's working from home with us at the moment, her boss said, we're all going to do a Zoom meeting on Friday at 5 o'clock. And it was within their work hours. And they appreciated it. It was totally well-intentioned, but at the same time they said, we still have a bunch of work to do, and I'm not really able to relax right now to do this. It's one of those things of being careful of being well-intentioned, but sometimes not really connecting in with what the team's looking for.